Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? I'm back today to do a video on my first impressions and a quick review of the new Mark Knopfler solo album. Here it is. Came out, I believe, on November the 16th. I just got my copy in yesterday and been playing it nonstop since then. It's Mark Knopfler's, I believe, ninth solo album called Down the Road Wherever. And as you can see from the cover, it actually has quite a similar cover to his last album, Tracker, whereas this one's a road. The last one had the sky and a field, but aesthetically very similar. Gatefold 2 LP set, 13 tracks on the regular version. There's a deluxe version out there that comes with a CD and some bonus tracks, I think 16 tracks in total. The extra money for that was definitely not something I was willing to pay, but certainly whenever Knopfler puts out a solo album these days, it's a no-brainer for me because I'm a big Knopfler Dire Straits fan. Dire Straits came in 5th on my top 20 albums, top 20 artists of all time. And like I said, so this came out on November the 16th. I got it yesterday. I played it several times since. In the last week, I've been playing the songs even before I got it online. So I'm quite familiar with the album already. So I thought I'd do my first impressions and just a quick review. And the one thing that I noticed right away for this album is that the album's much more of an upbeat album. Mark's solo albums, in comparison to the Dire Straits, have been very much more sort of chilled out affairs, very more slower songs, ballads, that type of thing. I find this album to be, while not at the level of Dire Straits in terms of its faster, rockier songs, it certainly is more upbeat than his last several solo albums. So in that sense, I think it's a plus. His guitar is much more prominent on this album than his last few solo albums. Like, you're always going to get Mark Knopfler's signature guitar licks in there, but I find on this album that they are definitely more prominent, and I think it's because some of the other players feature a little bit less. Like, there's less violins, less fiddles, whistles, things that gave it more of a sort of a traditional, folkier, Celtic folk kind of sound that Mark really seems to favor. There's still a little bit of that Celtic folk on here, but it's definitely more in tandem with Mark's guitar licks. You get a lot of Mark playing his Gibson Les Paul on here, a little bit of him playing his Strat, which is my preferred Mark Knopfler guitar sound, but if you like Mark playing his Gibson Les Paul like he does, similarly to the song Brothers in Arms, you get a lot of that on here. And what I find is Mark tends to, when he's not doing the vocal on a certain track, he'll put some fills in with some nice guitar licks, which is something I really, really like. There's a few new sounds on here, I think, from Mark. Some of them, more entirely new than others. Others that he has explored in the past maybe creep up on here a little bit more than usual. One thing that I notice is the female backing vocals on several tracks, which is not something really that Mark did in the past, and if he did, it was very sparse. But there's quite a few songs on here where there's some female backing vocals, and they work actually quite well in contrast and in tandem with Mark's signature vocals. The next thing that I notice is there's one song that is a very funk-oriented song, which is not something that Mark's done in the past. So that is definitely something newer for Mark. Mark has used a wah-wah pedal on a few tracks in the past, most notably Broken Bones from his last solo album. He does that on the funk song here, and incorporated with that, there's also a lot of songs that have horns on here. Mark has used horns in the past, but I find he does so more on this particular album. Speaking of the horns, there's a few tracks that are definitely jazzy in feel, and where there's trumpet on at least a couple of songs. Mark has done that before in the past. I guess the most jazzy track that he's done in the past might be Your Latest Trick from Brothers in Arms, where there was a nice saxophone, well-known saxophone part on that song. There's a couple of songs on here that definitely have that jazzy feel where the trumpet takes center stage. One song it's the muted trumpet, the other song it's open trumpet, sort of in combination with Mark's guitar, but really nice jazzy ballads on a couple of tracks on this album. So the thing that I really like a lot about this album is I like the fact that, while I enjoyed his traditional folk, Celtic folk type of stuff, and like I said, there's still some of that on here, I like the fact that Mark's guitar is definitely more to the forefront on here, and I think that bodes well for people looking more for that Dire Straits kind of sound, although this is definitely not a Dire Straits album. I think this album will do fairly well because of that. It's definitely more in that soft rock kind of vein than Dire Straits. You're not going to get anything on here like Tunnel of Love or Sultans of Swing or anything like that, but certainly you're going to get moments where, if you're fans of the Dire Straits sound, there's certainly quite a bit of that on here, but again not as rocky as Dire Straits. So I've been playing this album online and yesterday the vinyl for the last week or so, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that this is definitely my album of the year so far. I mean, we're in November. I don't see anything else that's going to top this. I just think that there's more on here of what I love about Mark and Dire Straits, which is more of Mark's guitar. His lyrics are always fantastic lyrics. Mark's always had a way with words that is very unique to him, and sort of the story type of songs and characters and different things like that. His phrasing when he sings them, a lot of catchy songs on here. That's why I think this album will appeal to more people than just the usual Mark Knopfler fans, or fans that had sort of stopped following Mark in his solo career and were fans for Dire Straits. So I'm going to play a couple of small clips. I'm not going to edit anything here. I'm just going to sort of put them on here from YouTube, and hopefully I won't get a copyright strike. But the first song that I'm going to play is a song called My Bacon Roll, and I'm playing it because it has my most favorite moment of the album in that song, which is the solo, and I'll just play a little clip of that solo. So that was a little clip of the guitar solo on My Bacon Roll, and the other clip I'm going to play for you guys is actually my favorite song from the album, which is the song called Back on the Dance Floor, and it's a song that has some of the female backing vocals that I mentioned earlier, which uses that to really great effect in contrast with Mark's signature vocal. The little clip that I'm going to play is though more from the opening part of the chorus on the song, and I think this song's a fantastic song. It's one of two songs that Mark previewed before the album's release, along with this song Good on You Son, But I actually find Back on the Dance Floor to be a better song than that. Like I said, my favorite song on the album, and very catchy. Again, some of his signature guitar. So here's a little clip of Back on the Dance Floor, and thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Okay, I'll play that and then the video will end.